What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, we're going to be getting into a little bit of a serious topic here today. I've been getting a lot of messages, a lot of comments wanting me to comment on this particular topic. So we're going to be discussing this whole Searchlight Pictures, 20th Century Studio, Disney not putting Barbarian out on Blu-ray or giving it any kind of physical media release. Also see how they run as well, that movie from Searchlight Pictures. We're going to be getting into it all. So I was going to briefly discuss this on the physical media report this week, but I was like, this is just a topic that's too big. There's too many moving parts here for me to just briefly discuss on the physical media report. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this. And plus, everybody just sending me messages and stuff wanting to know my thoughts. Which is really cool. I'm glad that you guys care what I think about this situation. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about this, get into the nitty gritty of this whole situation. But before I get into it, guys, I need you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is your first time discovering me here on YouTube. We're all about the preservation of film and keeping physical media alive and just owning the movies that you love and keeping film alive by owning the movies that you love. So we're big time into physical media here, 4Ks, Blu-rays, all that kind of stuff. We do reviews, we do unboxing videos, we do collection hauls, we do new breaking news announcements, updates like this right here. So if you like physical media and all that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Also be sure to hit the like button and comment down below, guys. One of the main reasons I do these types of videos is to kind of gauge the temperature of the physical media community and how they feel on certain topics. I kind of feel like I know what you guys are thinking when it comes to this particular topic right here. But again, sound off in that comment section below. Let your voices be heard, because I think that's important, especially in these times that we're in right now. Hopefully Disney or somebody at Fox Searchlight Pictures, or not Fox, but Searchlight Pictures or 20th Century Studios, somebody, some big higher up, maybe they see this video, maybe they see that this stuff, because they need to see that this stuff is important to us, that it matters to us, that there are people out there that still care about this kind of thing. So make sure that you are making your voices heard in the comment section below. Also, email Disney and let them know that this kind of stuff bothers you. Like, I've already sent an email out to them. Will anybody read it? I don't know, but we have to make sure our voices are heard, and that starts by, you know, leaving a comment, liking a video, maybe share this video around. That would definitely help as well, and I would definitely appreciate that. So yeah, leave a comment, turn on the bell notifications for all future videos. So Searchlight Pictures is formerly known as Fox Searchlight Pictures, and this changed with the Disney acquisition of Fox back in 2017. So Fox Searchlight Pictures was a subsidiary of 20th Century Fox that focused on specialty pictures and was responsible for 5 Best Picture winners. And I think that the studio came in the mid 90s, maybe the late 90s, maybe it was like 1996, but they are responsible for films, movies that I all own on Blu-ray, for films like 12 Years a Slave, The Shape of Water, Nomadland, which recently won Best Picture, Birdman, and Slumdog Millionaire. So all of these films have won Best Picture, and I own them all on Blu-ray right here. So that is a studio that is responsible for all kinds of great films. Also some really, you know, fun comedies from the early 2000s as well that I wanted to highlight, like Napoleon Dynamite and Super Troopers as well. So all Fox Searchlight Pictures. So really great studio, has made tons of great, excellent films over the years since they came in to existence. So they are more recently responsible, though, and this is going to be the topic of this video, for the horror thriller hit Barbarian, which came out, I think, back in August or maybe early September. I can't exactly remember when this movie came out. And this movie has grossed $40 million on a $4 million budget. So it is a big hit right now, at least as far as like a horror film, you know, as far as like the budget versus the actual gross. But apparently that means nothing to Disney or Fox Searchlight or 20th Century Studios or whoever's involved in the decision making here, because this is not getting a Blu-ray, a DVD, or a 4K release, at least anytime soon. So a press announcement was sent out, you know, to all the people that get like the press releases and the review copies and stuff like that. And usually they'll get an announcement, and I get a few of those myself. I'm not in the Disney camp at this point. I don't get the Disney press announcements, but I've gotten a few press announcements myself, and usually on there, it will tell you when the digital's coming out, and then it will tell you when the physical version's coming out. So apparently this press announcement was sent out with the VOD release date only, indicating that there will be no physical media release for Barbarian, at least not in the near future. This is kind of a very serious thing and kind of honestly unprecedented. I cannot think of a time that a new movie, a theatrically released film, we've seen this recently with streaming films, like movies that go to Netflix, movies that go to Amazon Prime or Hulu or even Disney Plus, which we'll get into more here in a second. But we've seen that more with them. Movies coming out exclusive to streaming, not getting physical media releases. So we're kind of conditioned and used to that at this point, even though we kind of call bullshit on that. We want physical media releases of Stranger Things. We want physical media releases of The Mandalorian at this point. But we're kind of used to it. But a movie that was released theatrically, that came out in the theaters, to not get a DVD, a Blu-ray, I can understand not a 4K, not everything gets a 4K, but to not get a DVD or Blu-ray, I cannot think of a time recently that has happened. So this is kind of uncharted territory. And somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. I just cannot think of anything off the top of my head that was released in the theaters, that we all went to go see in the theaters, and then a couple of months later, or 3 or 4 months later, it didn't come out on physical media. That just doesn't happen. That does not happen, at least not yet. But Disney is looking to change the game, and in a not so good way. That is very alarming, especially as a collector, as a physical media fan. Now, one thing to note here is that it is going to be coming out on VOD, and I don't have the exact release date of it. If I find it, I'll post it up down there at the bottom. But so it's coming out on VOD. It's also coming out exclusively to HBO Max at the end of this month of October. So there was a deal put in place, I guess, by Warner Discovery to get Barbarian and put it out on HBO Max. I guess Searchlight Pictures maybe made that deal. So Barbarian will be on HBO Max. That's probably where I'll watch it because I have that streaming service. And that's supposed to be out, I think, sometime at the end of the month. I think like October the 25th or the 26th or something like that. But VOD, it's supposed to be out, I'm pretty sure, at the end of the month as well. So anyway, the press release that they put out there actually had like all the special features and the commentaries and stuff. So this is a full-on like home VOD release. And they're structuring it almost like a physical media release with all the special features. And maybe they've always done that. I just don't buy a lot of stuff on VOD, so maybe that's always been the case, and they do that with everything they put out on VOD. I really don't know. But yeah, Barbarian, that is a movie that I haven't seen, but it's getting so much buzz right now. It's a thriller. It's a horror movie starring Bill Skarsgård. I've heard great things about the movie. But for that to not get a physical media release, I imagine is very disheartening for a lot of genre fans. When I say genre, I talk about, horror, science fiction, people that love the genre of filmmaking. Like, those fans really kind of support physical media more than anybody else at this point. I'm thinking of labels like Scream Factory and Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow Video and all those labels that put out a lot of cult genre films, and Barbarian seems to kind of fit the mold for that. So it just seems weird to not put this one out, because you would think that Disney would know, or Searchlight or somebody would step up and say, hey, this is going to sell pretty well, because traditionally this is the fan base that buys this kind of stuff on Blu-ray. I don't know. This is just very strange to me to see a movie like this that did well in the theaters, that grossed 10 times its budget at this point, that was successful, that was a critical hit, to not get a Blu-ray release. Like, I could see how the next one that we're going to discuss, see how they run, is not getting a Blu-ray. But again, that's still BS as well. But I can see how maybe the decision-making process there is like, let's not put this out on Blu-ray. But Barbarian was a hit. It was a big hit in the theaters too. So to not put that on Blu-ray just seems very strange to me at this point, because I just think it would sell very well. But yeah, like I said, See How They Run is also another film, a mystery thriller from Searchlight Pictures, starring Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan, so a legitimate cast there. That is not coming physically as well. And I looked this up online. I hadn't really heard too much about this movie. It's not a streaming movie. It kind of looks like a streaming movie, to be honest, like judging from the poster. But this apparently is playing at a couple of my local theaters. There wasn't a lot of showtimes and stuff for it, but it is theatrically released right now. I don't know how well this movie is going to do, but again, another theatrically released film that got a press announcement sent out for a VOD release date only, and no physical release for See How They Run. So yeah, guys, this is, again, uncharted territory right here. And to be honest, like, this sets a dangerous precedent in the world of physical media right now, because you're looking at Disney as one of the top dogs, like one of the top studios right now, at least as far as like filmmaking and stuff. Like, you have Universal, you have Warner Brothers, you have Disney, you have Paramount, one of the top studios, Sony as well. And for them to stop doing physically released movies, for them to stop putting stuff out on Blu-ray or 4K, it just, again, it just sets a precedent that's really quite alarming, because you wonder, like, where's the line going to be drawn? If Barbarian, a film that did well in the theaters, is not getting a physical media release, where are we stopping here? Is all the Fox Searchlight films going forward not getting physical media releases? Is that the direction that we're going in? And when does that start to trickle into movies that more people care about, like the Marvel films, like the Star Wars films? You know, Indiana Jones is getting a movie next year, Indiana Jones 5. Does that not get a physical media release? I don't know. I don't know where we stop here. But it's one thing for a movie that is exclusive to streaming to not hit physical, but for a movie that was theatrically released, it's just weird. And I mean, Disney's doing more and more of this type of stuff. They just released Hocus Pocus 2 exclusive to Disney Plus. They just released Pinocchio, which was a live action movie that probably would have done pretty well in the theater, exclusive to Disney Plus. These two movies will more than likely not see a physical media release anytime soon, if ever. And, you know, thinking about that and imagining Hocus Pocus, a movie that we all grew up on, that we bought on VHS, that we bought on DVD, that we bought on Blu-ray, that we bought on 4K, the original Hocus Pocus, we've all owned that movie so many times physically. To think about the sequel, and I haven't seen the sequel, because unrelated to this, I canceled my Disney Plus. I don't have a reason to have it anymore. I really don't care about a lot of the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff. So I'm not saying I made a stand because of all this and canceled my Disney Plus, but it just so happened that I recently did cancel my Disney Plus. And I'm kind of happy about it now, given this news, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Hocus Pocus 2, we may never be able to own physically. We all own Hocus Pocus on Blu-ray, so you'll never have that Hocus Pocus 2 on the shelf to match your Hocus Pocus. And again, I know that movie's probably not going to be held up as revered as the original, but it's still something that if you're a physical media fan, if you like owning these movies, that you probably did want to own at some point. Just the thought of it never getting a physical media release, it just sucks. It just really sucks, to be honest. And Pinocchio as well. I mean, it's a live action movie. So if you're a collector and you collect all these movies and they're all on your shelf and stuff, and you can't put Pinocchio on there. A movie directed by Robert Zemeckis. This could trickle into Marvel, into Star Wars. And I know it's kind of far-fetched to think that a Star Wars film or a Marvel film is not going to come out with multiple exclusives from Target, from Best Buy, from Walmart, and get all these physical media release, these Zavi exclusives, these one-clicks and all that kind of stuff. I know that's kind of far-fetched to think, kind of unbelievable, but it could actually happen. We're already seeing Target do away with exclusives. Best Buy is not putting physical media in stores as much. Do they stop doing steelbooks next? Do the steelbooks go to Zavi exclusively going forward? Like if Best Buy just decides to completely get out of physical media? Walmart, I don't see completely getting out of physical media anytime soon, but maybe they'll stop doing exclusives as well. Maybe Marvel, maybe Star Wars, maybe these Disney live action movies that are coming out don't get physical media releases in the next couple of years, because Disney really wants to sell their streaming service, Disney Plus. They seem to be all in on streaming right now, Disney does. I mean, they're putting these movies out on streaming exclusively. They're putting all these shows, these Star Wars shows, these Marvel shows that are all connected to the overall universe of Star Wars. So as a collector, you're putting all these movies and stuff on the shelf from Marvel. You don't have the complete story anymore because some of this stuff is on Disney Plus, so you don't have all that stuff in your physical media collection. So your physical media collection of all these Marvel movies just feels disjointed at this point because you don't have those TV shows, which is a part of the story. It's a part of the canon at this point. So I don't know. It's all very frightening, to be honest. And again, there's a lot bigger things in this world to be scared of right now, other than Disney putting stuff out physically. But if you're into movies and physical media and TV shows, this is a big part of your life, you love the entertainment, and you want to own this stuff, it is kind of scary. It is kind of frightening, because also just going into, other studios, like, do other studios see this from Disney? And maybe it works. Maybe it does, give them more subscriptions for their streaming service, Disney Plus. And maybe other studios see this. Maybe studios like Paramount that has Paramount Plus, maybe they see this and they're like, hey, Disney, they're kind of onto something here. Maybe we don't put out stuff like Top Gun Maverick physically. Maybe we make that exclusive to Paramount Plus and we'll get more Paramount Plus subscriptions. Maybe Sony does this as well. Maybe they come up with their own streaming service. Maybe, Warner Brothers is already with HBO Max. Maybe they decide to stop putting out physical media, altogether, and just doing all their new 4K restorations on HBO Max. It's just something that's scary. I don't think I see any of these other studios doing anything that drastic anytime soon, but I mean, maybe in the next 5, maybe the next 10 years, they see this model working for Disney and they decide to take a cue from Disney and do the exact same thing. It's very scary at this point. If you're a physical media fan, I mean, we've been dealing with this stuff all the time. It feels like we're being attacked on all fronts at this point. I mean, stores not selling this stuff. You got studios that aren't putting movies out physically anymore. It just feels like we're being attacked from all angles. And it just really hurts when it comes to Disney in particular, because they own all of these incredible movies now. Not only the Disney library, but they now own Fox, they own Searchlight Pictures. All of these incredible movies that we've seen come out on Blu-ray that may never get 4K releases because Disney just does not care about physical media anymore. They don't care. They only care about their streaming service. At least that's what it feels like at this point. So it just sucks. I just hope that, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel that I can see may be happening, the thing that gives me the most hope right now, is I just hope that they at least start licensing some of their properties to other people like Kino Lorber, like the other like boutique labels like Kino Lorber, like Criterion, like they just did with Wally. Hopefully we see more stuff like that, them licensing some of their stuff out to Criterion, Kino Lorber, maybe Arrow Video as well. Just boutique labels, people that actually care about this stuff and will do great work with the restorations and stuff like that, and give these movies the packaging and the quality and the special features that they so desperately deserve and need. It really sucks, guys. I mean, people still care about owning physically, and Disney really needs to embrace that and see the importance in it. And I mean, I'm just afraid that right now they're in such a bubble. They look at everything. They're looking at the landscape and movies and streaming and physical media, and they're looking at all that stuff, and it just feels like they're in such a bubble right now. They're only listening to the people around them, and everybody around them just saying that physical media is dead, Blu-rays and 4Ks are dead, nobody cares about this stuff. People only care about streaming at this point. I can just see that being the conversation in these rooms, and somebody needs to stand up and stick up for physical media, and I just wish there was somebody like that out there. Maybe there is. Maybe there's somebody that's in the office buildings and corporate of Disney and Fox Searchlight, and I said Fox Searchlight and 20th Century Studios, and maybe there is somebody that's sticking up for physical media right now. I don't know. I'm not in these meetings, but we got to take a stand, guys. We got to let them know that this stuff is important to us, that we're not just going to roll over and die and stop buying physical media. So everybody watching this video right now, don't roll over. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep buying these movies physically. We got to make a stand. We got to draw the line right here. And you know, if you're new to this channel and you're just now checking me out because you saw Barbarian not getting a Blu-ray, you're just kind of curious about this topic and what's going on in the world of physical media, if you don't really get into this kind of stuff, you know, I encourage you, check out more of my videos, find out why this is important, why owning the movies that you love is important, because this is an art form at this point. We are a rare breed. The art of collecting, us as a people, as a community, we are a rare breed at this point. And if we're ever going to come back into prominence, if physical media is going to come out on top again, I'm not saying, look, I'm not against streaming at all. I have streaming services. I have pretty much every single one except for Disney Plus at this point. I'm okay with streaming. It's just, they have to recognize that we also, in addition to streaming these movies, we want to own these movies. We want to have the option to be able to own them if we want them. We don't want to just get them on VOD and then have the possibility of them being stripped away from us at a later date. We want to own these movies back there on the shelf, have the option to pull them off and watch them whenever we want going forward. So I guess in closing, guys, it just sucks. I mean, Barbarian, like, I was looking forward to buying that movie on Blu-ray, owning it, watching it, pulling it from the shelf whenever I want. It was a new horror film, a new horror thriller. I love collecting for horror. It's just one of my favorite genres. So it just sucks. But again, in the comment section below, guys, I want to know what you think about this topic. I want to know how everybody's feeling about this right now. I kind of, like I said, if you're on this channel, if you're subscribed to me, you obviously care about physical media. So I have to think that you feel a certain type of way about this. But yeah, comment down below, guys. Sound off down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below. And turn on the bell notifications for all future videos. And we'll see you next time.